On this episode, we build a fort and have a sleepover. Fortnite. Is that not what that is?
With friends.
And cosmetics.
We stay
Makeup.
up extra late past our bedtime and paint each other's hair different colors.
I'm open to redoing that intro. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia. I'm a guy with a tomato on my head.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
This very night you shall know my name.
Oh, you're guy from Breaking Bad.
Lord of the Tomato. Heisenberg, Lord of the Tomato Temple.
Sounds right. Tomato on your head, that's it? That's all you got?
That's it.
You're the Riddler.
Nailed it. Yeah, in issue 149 where he infiltrates the tomato factory and...
Yeah. Okay, my name's Robbie. I'm a French enthusiast of sharp suits and sharp knives who will use stealth and disguise to catch you unawares. You know that one?
Yeah, I do know that. That's a good one.
You probably do.
Nice. Who were you last week?
I was King K. Rool.
Yeah, from Donkey
villain
Kong
from Donkey
or
Kong.
Yeah.
And
that's a good one.
he's not going to be in Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Not?
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
That's why I brought him up. That was the news.
Well, they couldn't not have him because they're having the kitchen damn sink thrown in that game.
But he wasn't in it before.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Well, neither was Castlevania, and they're adding that.
Castlevania's not a character, noob.
The family.
The family? It's not a family reunion.
Vampire killer
it
starts with a
Simon
B. Brachicus.
Belmont. And Richter.
Belmont. Belmont. Yeah.
Of the Belmont
clan.
It's not like there's like a family reunion.
Yeah, it's like a Belmont clan, and there's a... and last week I was Aldrin Sov, the villain from Destiny Forsaken, and he was also in other Destiny parts, but now he's front and center as the bastard we all want to kill.
Yeah.
And with us today, we have a special guest that I'm very excited about because he's just a brilliant man in all the ways that we are not. He was on our sports episode.
Yeah. He's quickly becoming our expert witness. Yeah.
We call to the stand Diego.
I am a boomerang-slinging Aussie who's out for revenge against a giant flightless bird who has trapped my family in another dimension, mate.
I don't think I know that one. Well, I think actually, isn't that... Well, I might have a guess.
Bird, you said.
Yeah, isn't it a...
is it... I think I know what that is.
Yeah?
We'll find out next week.
All right.
We'll find out next week.
It's Link.
Yeah. Oh, it's a metaphor. I get it. We've been having a lot of good metaphors on the show lately. It feels
not by us.
Yeah, no, not by us. So today we're talking, the reason we have Diego on it, we're talking about Fortnite. We did an episode about Battle Royale in general, but Fortnite is such a phenomenon that I think it's time to address it front and center. Specifically, if you listen to our Battle Royale episode, me and Robbie are not big Fortnite players, but we wanted to bring on an expert witness and see what he has to say about why you like it, why you play it so much, why you're so into it.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of funny because we did the Battle Royale episode, and then Diego, like, the next week was like, I play that game all the time. I was like, oh my god, we should have had you on initially. So this is kind of us backtracking a little bit. No, I mean, the other one was a good intro, but neither of us play those style of games.
Right, but at this point, I think everybody knows, like, what a big deal it is. Like, there's news stories every other week about, like, how parents can't get their kids to stop playing it. I even saw one news clipping about parents hiring Fortnite coaches for their kids to, like, so that they can keep up with their friends. Like, it sounds like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But it's big. All that to say, it's really, really huge. The thing just prints money. It has over 100 million players. It's the game right now. So we got to talk about it.
Yeah, I had a law professor this very day who found out I played video games ask me what Fortnite is and why do his kids like it so much. Right. That was his first question. Yeah. So, Diego, that being said, why don't you tell us a little bit about Fortnite?
I will. I'm still learning. I've only had a couple of lessons with my coach. But I'm getting there. I wanted to zoom out a little bit to tell you guys my dark origin story into becoming your favorite casual gamer's favorite casual gamer. The kind of casual gamer who listens to this podcast. Basically, what I'm looking for in a game right now is I want something that I can pick up and jump into the action, and I want something that's PvP. So PvP, I just want to, like, be affecting people somewhere. I was trying to, like, delve into my own psychology on this. I don't really get it, but that's what I want.
That's what we do every week. We just get dumber every week, so it's fine. You're in good company.
So that basically gets us to shooters and sports games.
Yeah,
I am pretty much playing one of each of those at any given time. So right now I'm playing FIFA and I'm playing Fortnite, and then I also introduced For Honor to the mix just to mix it up a little bit.
So let me ask you real quick, because what is your opinion? This is a side note, but what is your opinion on, like, Black Ops 4 now that they removed campaign and it's all just straight PvP? And are you like a Call of Duty shooter competitive kind of guy, or?
I've never played Call of Duty, which is just coincidence. My ideal shooter is every Battlefront before this last one. Sorry, Rob. And I really like Battlefield also.
Yeah.
I am not a single-player mode guy at all,
Right.
unless it's something just totally built around it, like a Kingdom Hearts kind of thing.
Right.
So, I'm not totally diametrically opposed to it, but not my jam.
So was that appealing then?
That it's all because it's all PvP. It has Battle Royale, the new Call of Duty. Is that something that would be interesting to you from your game,
Sure.
your tasting games?
Well, I mean, the thing is, all the previous Black Ops, all the previous Call of Duties, I've had, of course, that option to play them just PvP.
Yeah.
So it's not like I would be missing single player.
Right.
But I could have jumped in at PvP any point. I just am attracted to something a little different than that.
Yeah. Okay. That was just a side note. I'm just curious. I'll let you.
Yeah.
Please continue your Dark Origins.
All right.
Okay, so when you were on the sports one, I loved because you were like, we asked you about loot boxes, and you got like this weird, like far off look in your eye, and you're like, I got a dark story to tell you, boys. I love that. There's like always this underbelly thing.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna just slowly
The dark
peel back the
seedy,
onion that
that's
is
what- yeah.
Diego and get to the dark wicked core eventually.
All right. Well, here's where I really fall off a cliff. Until Fortnite debuted, I was playing FIFA and I was playing Battlefield 1, a very respectable shooter. I was able to hold my head high a little bit with that. And then Fortnite came along, and I became a pretty early adopter. So if you guys want to talk at all about the difference, we can do that. But basically, it comes down to Fortnite is brighter. Fortnite has more variance and building. To me, I listened to your guys' last podcast about this. I know you're not into building. To me, it's just a truth that I hold self-evident that building is fun. Creativity is good, and it adds to the variance. But
there is a whole nother dimension of skill that you have to play a lot of Fortnite to really get good at using the building quickly, to use it like tactically and strategically in a firefight. I was watching Ninja on Twitch today, and some of the crap he was doing was just like he would pop, he'd fire some shots, and then all of a sudden he was like 30 feet in the air on this massive structure as he was firing. It kind of blew my mind, and it's not for me, but like I had a moment of respect. Like I couldn't do that if I picked up a controller.
Well, neither can I. What I do, I really like to build a big fort, and then I'm looking one way, and somebody builds a big ramp from the other direction and shoots me with a shotgun.
Just meets you at the top and blows your head off.
I don't even see him. It's not even that good. I just like building forts. That's what it comes down to, guys. Fortnite is good because you get to build forts. No, there's more. I feel a responsibility to really stick up for it here.
Okay, wait. Let me also just say, I also respect what I've seen them. If you've looked at any videos on Fortnite, you've seen some amazing plays.
A skilled Fortnite player is impressive.
Yeah, I watched a guy build a tower. Somebody came up after him, and he just removed the floor from under the guy, and the guy cratered and died. He didn't even fire a weapon.
Yeah.
It was like a pacifist. It was like watching a carpenter take down a Navy SEAL, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But I was like, I don't think I would have thought that quick to like, oh, I'll just, instead of shooting this guy, just pull the floor out from underneath him. And it was amazing, and it was brilliant, and I felt the same thing. I was like, I respect that.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
So, do you like the battle royale genre in general at all?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm really excited for Battlefield's new
Firestorm
Royale.
Battle Royale, yeah.
That's the chance to get me back over to the light side. I do like Battle Royale, and that is what my whole defense is going to come down to today, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Because it is
Diego and just to clarify, Diego and Robbie are both in law school together. So continue.
That's not what we're doing?
Clarify that for our listeners.
Okay.
You're not under oath. Okay.
Okay.
You won't be perjured.
I should stop being so sadly honest then about my dark past.
No,
please don't.
Continue. We will swear you in if we think it'll
amazing.
make it better.
Okay. So just quickly to get some of the reasons why it's harder to defend Fortnite out of the way before I dive in with my whole heart. Fortnite to me has a fan base that oh man, I'm gonna sound elitist now, but I mean it's easy to take shots at the Fortnite fan base. Mm-hmm. It's very young, it's very annoying. There's some slurs. I mute everybody every time.
Yeah.
The YouTube people are a lot. It's kind of like I liked season 1 of Rick and Morty, and then by season 3, I was just like, I don't think I can be part of this fan base.
Yeah.
I can't do this. So what I love about it does come down to Battle Royale. And what Battle Royale brings to the table for me is variability. It's just every game is different. That's something that I'm really looking for. You never know where it's going to end. You don't know if you're going to be there at the end.
Well, and you have to start from scratch every time. Like a lot of time with other PvP games, you unlock stuff, you go in with a new loadout, with a new mod on your gun, with a new this or that. And with Battle Royale, you go in naked, born fresh every time. And I think that's what a lot of people don't like about it. Like Jimmy, Robbie's brother, who's been on the podcast a couple times, that's his big gripe about it, is that he wants to feel like he's progressing. But the only way you progress in Fortnite is by unlocking cosmetics and those kinds of things.
That's that true, but just so we're clear, Jimmy's also, just the other night, bitched to us about how in Call of Duty, you have to get your ass kicked for 30 levels until you get all the sweet guns.
That's true.
Right? So, like, sometimes what you love most is about those types of games is also what you hate. And Fortnite doesn't have that. I agree with him in that I like grinding stuff out too. But it's kind of liberating knowing that even if you're dropping me in with, like, some Twitch gamer, we're both starting with
the same set of
maybe
tools.
I don't have the same dance moves he has.
The same luck, the same chance of draw. Yeah.
Well, I would make the argument that can I argue?
You can argue.
Is this what the
we'll allow it?
You can do persuasive argument.
Okay,
you'll get no objection.
All right. I would make the argument that the kind of progression you make in Fortnite is the most genuine, least artificial kind of progression. It's just actually honing your skills, so that way you can keep playing against everybody. It doesn't have to be ranked. The Battle Royale system kind of just weeds it out. It's like ranking within each match. You know, some people die right away, and it's just got kind of a survival of the fittest thing. And I have heard the gripe that the people don't like that you start off with, with just your harvesting tool in the beginning. You can get
that's
really
a gripe
lucky.
Against Battle Royale, I think, in general, though,
Of course.
not Fortnite specific.
But to me, the people who are going to be at the end every game have a basically relatively equal opportunity to get good weapons. If you make it that long, you're going to have pretty equal stuff by the end.
That's an interesting point, that you don't need ranking in Fortnite because it inherently weeds itself out just by your skill. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
So this was further down in my notes. I didn't expect to get to it this quickly, but I think now's a good time to bring it up. So your favorite part of it is the actual Battle Royale competitive gameplay aspect of it.
I think it is, because it's not the shooting. I know the shooting is not as tight as other games, and
which was one of my problems with it. Like I picked up a sniper rifle in one game, and it was just like I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna bomb these shots from way out, and it was so glitchy and awkward, and it frustrated me so bad. I just turned the console off and walked away, and I was like, I'll try again later. It drove me nuts though, because the gunplay is not as tight, and it's not like picking up a sniper rifle in Battlefield or Destiny or something like that. But
we do play, and because we play so much Destiny, that's one of the best things about Destiny is the tight gunplay.
Yeah, and their sniper rifles do feel really tight.
It is hard though to transition, I think.
Yeah, and it is more about the fast twitch and the building and all these things going on, cohesively together. But what I was going to ask you is I was reading these articles on The Verge today, and they were talking about how as Fortnite has evolved forward and it has this massive player base, they've started adding in all these other things like the crack the sky thing and the rocket and the weird cube that people are following around, all this, which is interesting because like you're seeing that in online service games in general. There's an equivalent in Destiny where they added like a portal where you could go get this gun. It's just like these random things that people are like, what the hell is this? And they want to engage in the community more.
Yeah, the point isn't like some games do it more veiled, like Destiny, or like people are trying to crack the riddle.
Yeah,
and we talked about that with the Easter eggs and like our Battlefield.
Right.
We talked about that. But some games just like giving you that anticipation. Like Pokemon Go doesn't tend to have hidden stuff, but they let you know there's a big event coming. Yeah. Get ready.
It does. The mystery of it gets you to engage in the world and on a deeper level that's beyond can I make it to be the last man standing. It goes to a deeper level of world engagement than something like H1Z1 goes to, or PUBG even. So what do you make of that? Because one of the quotes this guy said was that that Fortnite's win condition is getting in the way of the best thing that is Fortnite now, is like all this cool, weird, tangential stuff that's out in the world. Is that a draw to you at all as a Fortnite player, that weird side stuff? Because I know they had like a thing with movie theaters. There was a drive-in that was playing a short film that's from someone that won a like all kinds of crazy stuff. Is that interesting to you at all, or is it purely as the Battle Royale? Yeah, is it purely the fight for you?
I am not as into all of the Easter eggs as some people. I think that stuff is really cool, but it's not really for me.
You don't like go in there watching a cube for 3 hours or whatever.
I know that like lends itself to hobbyist gaming,
right,
as you guys talked about in one of your recent episodes. For me, something that kind of takes the place of that is the aesthetic. I really like that cartoony bubblegum pop aesthetic. For everything you can say about the skins, they're really good.
Yeah,
they look great.
And when you see it, you can see like a screenshot. You can I've seen it like on GameStop and stuff. Like they'll have like buy this pack. They don't even say it's Fortnite. They don't even say the price. You can just tell by the font and by the color that it's Fortnite, because they have done a great job with their aesthetic style. It's very iconic now.
The new season has that guy with that like fox mask, I think, that he's like taking off, and immediately I was like, that's for Fortnite.
Yeah.
Must be promoting a new thing. I don't even play Fortnite, but like you said.
So I would even as someone who's not a player, you can't argue that they've done a fantastic job with the visuals. Yeah.
Fortnite is a game that you can think about like all day if you want to.
Right.
And for me, FIFA's that game for me because I get to think about the team building and all this nerdy stuff behind it. Mm-hmm. But I have friends who are for a lot of the day during class, whenever they're looking at what's going on Fortnite. And I get it. That sounds fun.
So, two questions I want to ask you off that, actually. So first, the cosmetics and the microtransactions. Like, why do you think Fortnite has done such a good job of striking a balance? Because it is a free-to-play game, but they just print money with that thing. Like, how have they done it better where it's not so, like, invasive, where you can come to it and play for free and not spend any money and still feel like you got value out of the game? Or you can spend a bunch of money on cosmetic stuff. Like, what do you think they did right there?
I think it almost comes down to they made the skins really good, which sounds ridiculous, but I you guys have only played a few times, but you might have noticed that out of the 100 players in any given game, you're barely going to see anyone with the basic unpaid skin. I have a couple, which I'm not especially proud of, but mine's great. I have an emotional attachment to it. Yeah, like you said, it's something where you can just come in, you scroll over to the store. There aren't like pop-ups or anything like that that are telling you.
And you're paying money for a specific skin, not for a random roll out of a loot box, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think one of the things is every time you buy a skin, for me at least, I think, this is the skin that I'm going to play with for the rest of the time I play Fortnite.
This is it. This is the last one.
So if I pay $10 or $15 for this one skin, that means I paid $10 or $15 for the whole game, and that's a great deal. As long as I don't spend above 50 or 60, I'm fine.
That logic makes sense, right? Like,
it makes sense, but it's a lie.
Yeah, you're getting way more playtime, or as much playtime as you would a full $60 like AAA release or whatever. So it's like $10 here, $5 here, whatever, and then you kind of lose track, right? And
I've done the same thing in Overwatch, where I'm like, it's an event. I haven't paid any money in this game for a year. It's okay if I spend a little bit. I want to support them. And it's not like I'm doing this all the time.
Fortnite needs my help. They need my
They need me.
Yeah,
they really don't.
A customer. Yeah. So you said one of the things you love most is like getting in there quickly, killing some fools, right? You like that PvP aspect.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing with that is I like the constant action, but of course there's not as much. Your percentage of time fighting in Fortnite isn't as high as it would be in Battlefield.
Sure.
But there's something that's cut out. In Battlefield, I would play the capture the base mode, basically.
Yeah.
So you're running from one base to the other. And that doesn't sound like it would be much of a problem. I didn't notice it when I was actually playing. But trying to think of why I switched from Battlefield to Fortnite, there isn't dead time in Fortnite that is just going from one place to another without strategy exactly behind it. Like, if you're going from one base to another, you're coming from a certain angle. There's that strategic element to it. But in Fortnite, even if you don't see somebody for 10 minutes, you are
gathering resources.
You're gathering resources. Yeah. You're trying to get to the most optimal place to defend,
as opposed to Battlefield, where there are times where you're just like running across an open field to get back to the battle, but without any okay.
It's more purposeful, it's more variable, and it to me, because it's more purposeful, part of that is like you only have your one life. So
that makes sense. So how do you think heist mode is going to change some of that?
You know, I like heists and I like Fortnite, but I haven't watched the gameplay footage yet.
And I think it's a limited time event. It's just like it's another one of those short-term deals to just keep the community engaged and everything.
The short-term deals are interesting because they'll introduce a new game mode probably once every couple weeks. and I'm sure it drives a lot of traffic for them. But for me, there's one game mode that to me is clearly the best Fortnite game mode, and I haven't gotten to play it in like a couple months. And that's the 5 teams of 20 to me is the best, and I don't know if it's ever going to come back. So that kind of detracts.
5 teams of 20?
5 teams, yeah.
They just got rid of it, or what?
Yeah, they only had it for probably 3 weeks.
Okay. What was it about that? That's interesting. That's a really huge team. What was it you liked about that?
I like that there's more action and more building, but to me it's better than 2 teams of 50 because...
okay, so I think that's the one that I played
a
couple rounds of when I actually said that.
There's a teams of 4 mode, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I think
Teams of 4 and,
100
team
deathmatch, sort of, yeah.
I think are the most popular ones. But to me, just the balance on the 5 teams of 20 makes it the best mode.
So, to you, Heist sounds fun, but it's not something that's like... It's not gonna wet your whistle anymore, so then...
No, my whistle's pretty wet, thinking about it.
It sounds like people are really excited about it, but it sounds like even Epic Epic, right? That's who develops Fortnite. Is kind of treating it as like a one-off, gimmicky sort of get people in and play. It's not like a thing that's here to stay or anything like that.
So should we talk a little bit about cross-platforming? So I don't know if you listened to that episode, but we talked about Fortnite was it's a big topic of the cross-platforming world. It's on mobile, it's on Xbox, it's on Switch. Everyone's playing nice except PlayStation. We already talked about that a little bit, but what I would like to ask you is, do you think Sony is... Really, does Sony give a shit? Like, is this going to hurt them at all, or...
You play on PlayStation.
I play on PlayStation.
Okay.
And have you had any heartburn over them not playing with everyone else? Or are you like, yeah, whatever, I don't care?
No, I mean, if they introduced it, I would be happy to play with some of my Xbox friends. But in either that episode or another episode, Rob, you talked about how you kind of, maybe more than Alec, expect a corporation to act like a corporation, and it's hard for you to be disappointed in them. That's kind of how I feel. I just, it's hard for me to get activated about something. Something that I've come to expect. It's more, I would be excited if they cross-platformed, but I'm not angry that they're not.
There's I've just heard some conversations where people are like, oh, this can hurt Sony in the long term, but I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that. Even though I think it's shitty of them, I don't think people are going to be like, I'm not buying the PS5 because they don't cross-platform. Because I think if they think it's a problem, they'll just do it.
Yeah, if it is hurting their business enough, they'll just
I think if like the PlayStation 5 comes out and Fortnite's on all of it.
If in the next gen they have the same magical, freaking astonishing core lineup that is exclusive to PlayStation, it's not going to be a problem, and people will continue to put up with it, I think. But
yeah, dude, it's like Loki said, an ant has no quarrel with a boot.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, really,
yeah.
Even though I'm not saying it's good.
Well, their response to it was like, here at Sony, we believe that on PlayStation is the best place to play Fortnite. And that was like a really PR way of saying, we have the biggest player base, fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, what's weird to me is, maybe I'm missing something, but it seems like this strategy has a lot to do with moving consoles. And at this stage of the game, it feels to me like that should be less of a consideration. Everybody's already pretty much locked in, right? Yeah. Unless they're buying some used console, I would think.
Yeah, I've been surprised by that too. That's something I actually was thinking about with Microsoft subscription. I guess Microsoft always can try and push more consoles, right? Because they're the smaller pie. So for them, pushing consoles means pushing more games, and that's a bigger deal. But to Sony, I mean, they've already said they've already sold their capped amount. Every year is now only going to decrease. Right. I don't think they give a shit about selling consoles. I think you're right.
I think it's going to matter less and less going forward as people look at streaming services, and
which makes me think it must just be setting a precedent. They don't want that to be expected in the future when they're selling their next generation. They don't want it to be expected of them that they make everything cross-platform.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think I am not convinced that Microsoft and Nintendo are going to be so kumbaya in the next generation. We're all just going to work. I don't know. Maybe they will, but I don't.
No, if Microsoft gets the leg up that Sony has now, it's going to be the same story. Yeah. I do want to ask you, as we move toward wrapping up, I saw this thing that said that Fortnite was actually like stealing players from other games, basically, that stole you, right?
So be my Valentine.
I mean, the player base is absolutely massive, and they've been able to measure this with like Twitch views, like the number, like for Fortnite specifically, it was up in this thing. I think this was a video from IGN, and the data came from Super Data, but the Fortnite was up 59% on Twitch views, and literally every other game was down. And then they looked at digital sales. And digital sales overall were up, unless you removed Fortnite. Digital sales were down for like the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store. So Fortnite is stealing all the money, all the player time, all the player eyeballs to a significant degree. So I guess what I'd like to ask you is, if Fortnite magically vanished tomorrow, where would you get your fix? Would it be like Battlefield or?
Yeah, I think I would go back to Battlefield. But while it lasts, I think there's something that's fun about being part of a blockbuster game like this. And to me, while we're talking about it being like a blockbuster, it's kind of like when DC made that first Zack Snyder Superman. It was kind of dark and gritty. It didn't fit the tone of Superman that a lot of people wanted.
Right.
And it didn't fit what people had come to expect from Marvel, which was kind of the fun, slightly zany, bright movie. Like the color palette was different, all this stuff. And I think Fortnite kind of is the Marvel to everybody else's DC in that way. Like I was talking about the aesthetic earlier. I think coming home and playing 45 minutes of a bright cartoony game like Fortnite it has, to me, an edge up over a really realistic, brutal game where I'm bayoneting people in trenches, which there's something to be said for bayoneting people in trenches. But
there's even something to that, like you've brought it up a couple of times, the pick it up, put it down sort of aspect of it. You can pick it up and play a round of Battle Royale pretty quickly, have a good time, and then put it down. Whereas with Battlefield or something like that, you kind of get locked in. Like those games can run like 30 minutes or whatever. It is a much more open, casual.
I actually didn't think about this until you brought these points up. A lot of the stuff you're saying is probably similar to what the Overwatch crowd likes.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of the same reasons I played Overwatch and still come back to it. So it's fun, the animation is really cool, and it's kind of cartoony. It's not violent. There's not some close-up animation of me snapping a dude's neck. Even when you're doing a cowboy execution of everyone, it's still really funny.
I think I saw comparisons drawn to Overwatch as well, between Overwatch and Fortnite, with how Fortnite's sort of building in some lore and doing some of these mysterious things in the world, about how Overwatch has done a similar thing with giving people like enough information about these characters that the community just goes nuts and reads more into it than is actually there. But like that's why it's designed that way. They give them enough so that the community latches on and runs with it. So I think Overwatch is actually probably a good comparison.
Yeah, in fact, one of my beefs was at times the Overwatch community has gotten like more hostile and toxic in my experience, and it makes me stop playing. Because part of why I loved Overwatch is like everyone was fun, everyone was cool, no one was salty and shitty. I mean, that's like the beginning. And the longer any game goes on, you get those hardcore, shitty assholes who this is all they do all day. And I can't believe you're playing that, and why is nobody tanking, and all this bullshit. But it's not always like that. It's just when that happens, I like don't play Overwatch for months, because I'm just like, that's not why I came here. I came here for like a fun experience with cool, like just to experience the zaniness and the craziness. So I can understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, in Fortnite, the toxic fans are in a totally different direction. There's nobody hardcore saying, why aren't we doing X, Y, and Z? It's more just there's some 9-year-old kid using slurs, which is pretty bad.
Well, I mean, like it does remind me of like Call of Duty around like the Modern Warfare 2 peak, when like it was the tippy top game. There was like the stereotypical 12-year-olds screaming in their microphone, and I think that's what you're getting now with Fortnite. You can't have 100 million people playing without getting that.
I assumed that there was something like inherent to Fortnite, and it's that bright aesthetic we were talking about that made the player base younger. But yeah,
I think there is some truth to that, though, because I mean, like the parents just let them play it because of the style. I think there is something to the aesthetic and it being more open to a wider range of ages and genders and whatever.
In Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 days, that was it. There were no options like Overwatch or Fortnite. There were no like kid friendly. So it was really just the kids who talked to their parents into buying them a mature game, who probably are neglecting a little bit about what's going on or not giving a shit or whatever.
But Fortnite is different. Like I have friends that got 4 boys now, but their oldest 2 love Fortnite, but the dad plays it with them. It's a family activity. So I think you're right about that. There is something to the aesthetic and it bridging gap of adults and kids, and everyone alike can sort of jump in and enjoy Fortnite.
And to be clear, I think that's really cool. That
it is cool. That is cool.
Yeah, you see in any given game, you might see a bond forged between some random 30-year-old guy and a random 10-year-old kid, where the older one is teaching the younger one how to play.
I will say I had the epiphany today that I game with my kids, and my oldest son and I were playing Mario Kart the other night. We have a lot of fun, but I realized, what if Fortnite is that game where I either have to, I wouldn't normally play it, but if I want to continue playing with my kids, and he's like, Dad, let's play this together, I'm going to have to now play games like that, potentially. He hasn't asked me to play it. He doesn't know what it is yet. But I think that's coming quick, right? Because, he's 5, and I know, 6 and 7-year-olds are starting to play it. So, and he's good. He'll be, top scorer in Splatoon and stuff. he's really good.
Yeah.
So he's already playing online, so I may get sucked into Fortnite just by trying to be a good dad. Yeah.
The one thing I really, can I say it again? I'm not a Fortnite fan. As I was reading and studying for this episode, what I do like is the way that they're putting in these events that are engaging people and building in some of the lore stuff. And it's really mind blowing to me that a game like Fortnite, that's this free to play phenomenon that came out of nowhere. Games like Anthem with EA and BioWare. I can't remember the Casey whatever the guy from he has mentioned that they're putting in events that are sound very much inspired by the types of limited time events that Fortnite is doing to keep their player base engaged. It is just such a powerhouse. Whether you like it or not, you have to acknowledge the influence it's having on any other online game as service type game.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, I really, I kind of said earlier, being part of something that big where you can reliably get 100 players without much of a wait time is really fun. Being part of
such an active community.
Yeah, I had to stop myself from saying being part of a movement. That would have been really, really tragic.
We're going to cut the episode right there. Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/SaveEveryUniverse.
And if you want to tell us your thoughts on Fortnite and what your favorite dance move is, you can reach us at saveeveryuniverse@gmail.com.
I wanted this to be more of a roast, so if anyone wants to write in and roast me for liking Fortnite, I would welcome that.
Diego was just complimenting us on our new tech setup, dude, and now we look like...
The best way to know whether or not we're professionals is time. You sit with us long enough, you'll know the truth. This gilded setup we have isn't going to last forever. Eventually the copper comes through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I spend no time talking about games I don't like.
Well, I don't like Fortnite, and I've been I don't like it. It's not for me. But I wouldn't berate somebody who...
I wouldn't go find posts from my friends.
Be like, fuck Fortnite.
Cool, they're into Fortnite. But I don't stop. Hey, you fucker.
I heard you were playing Fortnite.
Wake up!
Don't you know what they're doing to you? What are you, a cow? They're milking your tits off, man.
You're looking real dried up. You're all shriveled up, boy.
Fortnite's been milking your tits,
huh?
No, my whistle's pretty wet.